Okay, this is Aaron again with Exalted Lamb 1, and man, am I excited to bring out this information. Man, it's taken me so long to put this together, a good solid 4 or 5 days, um, because right after my last video, I spent time really, like I always do, thinking and praying and asking the Lord what to do next. And, I know we're super, super close, and I've been looking at things in the past, dates that point to 8/11/19, but I usually take them as they come. So the later dates that are possible, I don't really, put too much emphasis into, and for a number of reasons. One of those reasons is that it's a breadcrumb trail that the Lord is leading, and He's also teaching people at the same time in my channel, teaching me at the same time. It's all His thing, There's things I would want to do. There's things the way I would want to go, and He's just directing me, keep me on this particular path. And so, as a result, it's led to this time, and this could be the time. So, 8/11/19 is really crazy. It's very much encoded in a lot of things. And this first video of mine is not even half of the stuff I have right now. So that's why this is part one. I have an amazing amount of stuff. I have just as much or more stuff connecting to this date as all my other stuff combined. And I'm almost to the anniversary of when I started this on YouTube, which was August 5th last year, 2018. And so this is very crazy that this would all come together, I believe, at this time. So like I've said before, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future, and this may not be the exact time, okay? But, and I'm going to give you a few dates as possibilities, but I'm going to show you why a lot of things link to this, and why past things I've talked about that I thought might be dates completely linked to this. And this is the first part, so there'll be even more stuff, if you can believe it, even more stuff on the second one. So I'm going to get going here and not get into too much more banter here. So 8/11/19 is basically, think of it as 8/11. So similar to 9/11. It's kind of funny how, I'll talk about this later and show this later, but it's kind of funny how to dig when you dial 811 is to dig, and I'm going to show you why that is predictive programming. Same thing as 911 was to dial 911 for emergencies, and then the attack happened on 911. But simply 811 is, or August 11th is 811, or the mirror is 118. Okay, so I want you to put this in your mind. The reason I have this big and red and everything is I want you to put this in your mind and see. So I'm going to show you a bunch of things, and you can see the 811s and the 118s, or the 811s and the 118s, however you want to say it or look at it, okay? Okay, so how does 811 or 118, its mirror, relate to 623? Well, I've talked about, if you don't know about much about my videos, I've talked about 623 being the birth of the Antichrist. It started years ago in 2015, where the Lord gave me a dream about 923, America is laid low. And without getting into all that, I have videos on that. There's a lot of things I'm not going to get into in the past. You can look at videos, and I'll explain a little bit. But also, then I had a dream months later where Jesus came up to me and whispered in my ear. It was very short, and He said, 923 is 623. And it's simply, if you just take 923 and you just turn this 9 over, it's 623. But they have they have exchanged meanings between them. They both have to do with birth. Okay, and I've talked about the twin births for way before I even had my twin boys, and I'm going to talk about that. That's crazy. I've talked about, in the very beginning, I talked about the light side of the coin and the dark side of the coin. And what's going on is the enemy is doing his plans with the Antichrist and with evil people to cover up what God's plans are. And there's both sides of the coin. There's the good side, the light side of the coin. There's the dark side of the coin. Also, it's like yin and yang. The dark side, the light side. And then there's also twin births: the dark birth and the light birth. The light birth is the man child born into heaven, like in the Revelation 12. In Revelation 12 in the Bible, which is shown by the Revelation 12 sign, and I've shown how it's definitely solid. It's from God. And then there's the birth of the Antichrist. Okay, so 923 is 623. So how does that relate to 811 or the mirror 118? Well, I'm going to show you. Now, one of my last videos, not my last one, but one of my most recent, was about 4th of July, 5th of July. How does this connect? Why 4th of July, 5th of July? There was a lot of messaging in those dates. And by the way, the reason why it's two dates by each other is because I've shown in iPad Goat that basically we have two dates covered from Hawaii to New York. Basically, the apple that falls represents both. On the apple is Hawaii upside down, and behind it as it rolls. And I've shown that before. It's also the Big Apple falling. There's a lot of reference to that. The Big Apple's New York. So it's two tsunamis, mega tsunamis, are going to happen hit both coasts. Actually hit Hawaii first because they're going to cause by Hawaii, and then it's going to go across the Pacific Ocean and hit the West Coast. So basically East Coast, West Coast, or Hawaii on the west, and then New York or the West Coast or the East Coast in the east. So and there's two dates. It's one moment, and these two events, two mega tsunamis on either coast, are going to be happen at the same time, but it's the same moment, but two different time zones. One is Hawaii Standard Time, and 6 hours later, as far as time zones go, is Eastern Standard Time on the East Coast. And that's what this is showing. And so, listen, iPad Goat is an animated movie that is a Luciferian Global Elite playbook showing their moves for the last 3 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019. If you don't know this, if you do, I'm just reiterating for the people who already know. And it's showing false flags that have happened, probably over 50 false flags that have happened during 2017, 2018, and 2019, even some other ones in the past. So, but it's a timeline. It's several timelines smashed together, and it's a lot of meaning, a lot of a lot of symbolism. It's fraught with all kinds of symbolism. And it's layered. It's layer upon layer upon layer. If you really understand this video, it is pretty crazy because it's designed by demons. Okay, so how does 4th of July, 5th of July relate to this 8/11? Okay, this August 11th. I'm going to show you. So these big things happened on 4th and 5th of July, but it was pointing to, I believe, August 11th. Okay, we also had the 4th of July was related to Stranger Things. As I've talked about in my videos, and some other people have talked about, of course, Stranger Things Season 3. What's up with July, 4th of July? Why 4th of July with the end times and with the attack that's coming and all that kind of stuff? Because it is a big attack that's coming to the United States to be the second 9/11. What's the connection here? Why 4th of July and then, like I'm saying, August 11th? Well, let me show you. So, like I've shown in my previous videos, this is the death character, which was really the actual character is from he's a Haitian voodoo god, and anyway, you can look him up. I can't think of his name right now for some reason, but anyway, which is their Independence Day is 4th of July basically. So that's what, and then Independence. It's like it's also linked to New Year's. But 4th of July is what I'm talking about right now. So why does it show 4th of July and then linking to the Day of Destruction, even though 4th of July just passed? Well, I'm going to show you what I believe I'm seeing here. Okay, so 8/11/19 is shown in this. Okay, all right, and I've talked about how in the explosions, and I've shown in my videos how there's several 623s, or you could say 236, because 623 is the message I got from the Lord, and it means a date, it's several things, but also backwards in a sense is 236, or the 23rd of June, or just 236 in a sense backwards, is all over these explosions. And I've shown it in my previous videos, so you can check those out. I mean, I recommend going back 4, 5, 6 videos of mine to really get an understanding of some of these last few dates and some things coming up to this point. Okay, but let me show you here. So if you turn it backwards, the image backwards, I'm blowing it up a little bit, but I'm turning it backwards, and then you can start to see these numbers here, and then I'm going to do it upside down again like I've done before. Now I'm going to show you this. Okay, I'm going to show you again how is, so the left one where you can actually see what it looks like right here, and then this right one I'm going to actually draw it. So 2, Man, I'm a little shaky right now. 3, 6. Okay, anyway, it's there. It's 2, 3, 6. And I've shown how it's in several places, okay? And you can kind of see it on the left there as well. It's 2, 3, 6. And then even where the 3 is, that's a 2, the top half of it. And then in the 6 is another 3, and then the 6 is there's another 6. And it's all over. I've shown this already in previous videos. So, 2, 3, 6. What is the relationship? I mean, what's the deal with 2, 3, 6? Well, of course, 2, 3, 6 is 6, 2, 3 backwards, and that's what I'm saying. It's the birth of the Antichrist. And so, how does that relate to 118 or the 11th of August? Well, 11/8 or 118 plus 118 represents 2 attack days. So if I'm saying that 8/11 or the 11th of August is an attack day, we have 2 attack days for each coast. And like I said, remember I said about 2 sides of the coin. I said also it's twins. And I'm going to talk about 11 quite a bit, and twins and 2, okay? Because that's what they're showing. They're showing two identical things. Basically, like I said, East Coast, West Coast, yin and yang, several things. The twin births. So it's 2 attack days for each coast. So this is all in their coding. So in a sense, 8/11 or 11/8 is a master code. Okay, it's a master code to several things. And I'm going to show you and I'll prove that to you, and that's the case. I'll put this up here for a second. Okay, so 118 plus 118 is 236, which is crazy. Okay, and again, that's 623 backwards in a sense. So 623 could be represented as the 6th month, the 23rd day of whatever calendar, or the 23rd of the 6th month, or whatever. Okay, because it's dates, it's symbolism, it's all kinds of stuff. Okay, so 236 can also be made into, of course, 118 and 118, but also you could take 118 and it's really 11 plus 8 and 11 plus 8. So we're talking about 2 of these because there's 2 that make 236. Okay, and so before I continue with that, I'm going to talk about when the apple rolls, and I've shared this in my previous videos, so watch those. When the apple rolls, it drops on a 623, and I'm going to show that to you here in a minute as well. It rolls past this 7, okay, and then it rolls past this C, which is where the apple would be right here, okay. It would make it an 8, but it continues the roll and hits Obama's foot on the 8th roll, and then rolls back the other way. And I've said this 1,000 times, but this is the 8th day. So there's 8 represented in the apple roll, okay? And I think that something major could happen. It's probably going to happen if this is all correct on 8/8. It's a huge number for them. 8/8 is a massive number for them, and it's connected to the Antichrist, connected to Barack Obama, it's connected to so many things. It's a new beginning for both, for the twins. It's the twins. It's several things. I mean, if you think about twin births, talk about 2 beginnings. Two births of 2 twins is 2 beginnings. Okay, so there's so much going on here. And then when it splits open, it's the 11th. As I've shown, it hits his foot, goes back and forth a couple times, then splits over on the 11th, which is right here on the leaf is the 11. Okay, so it splits over. So this is the 11. So we have 8 and 11, and both times they're hitting Obama's foot. So that has to do with the birth of the Antichrist. And I've said a million times that Barack Obama is the Antichrist, and on all my videos, pretty much, I bring evidence of that fact. And this video will be just the same and add more evidence that Barack Obama is definitely the Antichrist, and my next part 2 as well. So again, here it is right there. The 2 halves also make 8. And again, it's 2 halves, it's 2 coasts, east and west. If you look at each half, one half, which is representative of both halves, one half shows his foot, which is represents here a submarine. This has so much representation. I can get into all the different things, and many people have different views of this thing as well. Some people have said that the apple represents Israel, and at some point it will be split because it's the apple of God's eye. Some people say that the LC that you see is a move in chess, and this is a chessboard. I mean, all things are true, okay? So there's so much in this. It is insane. It is incredibly insane how demonic this is and thought through this is with multiple layers. If you really understand this, so anybody could say, oh yeah, this is just a cartoon. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know that this is shown ahead of time. And this was made in 2012. And it took 5 years to make. So they knew about all this stuff before they put it together in 2007. And it shows false flags from 2017, 2018, and 2019, over 50 of them, from hurricanes to political events, many things, okay, and the future attack that's coming, and other attacks that were, and other things, volcano eruptions, earthquakes, floods, I mean, all kinds of stuff that is in this video. It's pretty crazy, okay? So there's the 8 right there, representing August, and then we have, of course, the 11 on the leaf. So sitting right there, not only did we have the 8 of the apple hitting his foot the first time, then we have a splitting on the 8 hitting his foot a second time, which was 8 and then 11. Then at the final thing, when it splits and that's the attack happens, it's 8-11. And like I said, so one side is East Coast, which is over here. Okay, if you can see my pointer right over here where it's touching Obama's foot. Sorry, this is West Coast because Obama comes from the West. He was supposedly born in Honolulu, Hawaii, right? That's the West. Over here is the East. And then they both have to do with submarine attacks, because this foot looks like a submarine and other things. And then both have to do with tsunamis, because this is a tsunami wave that's shown right here with the ripples in and everything. But it's just showing either side, but they both are, relate. Okay, so let me keep going here. So again, we have 11 plus 8 and 11 plus 8. And what does that equal? 19 and 19. And then you put those together. Again, those are twin, or those East Coast, West Coast. So you put those two attack days, you break them down, they make 19s, and then 19 and 19 is 38. Well, how does that relate? Well, if you take 4th of July plus 38 days, you get an 8-11-19. It's pretty crazy. Okay, this is encoded all over the place, and I'm going to show you. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm going to show you, and you decide. Okay, again, I'm like a prosecutor that's bringing evidence. I'm like, a police officer that's trying to gather evidence to present a case. And you decide. I'm not saying I'm 100% right by any means, or that I'm right at all. But what I have to do is look at the evidence and present it to you. And this is, listen, I'm telling you, if you see this stuff and you don't know Jesus, you need to know him, because he's brought this information to me. And listen, I don't claim that I've put it all together correctly every time, or even now, but I just do the best I can. But you'll see, if you really watch this and you're really honest, you'll see how all these things relate. And this is very bizarre, and it can't be coincidental. So let's go back to Stranger Things. Okay, there was a little promo ad on YouTube and for Netflix, or for the Netflix show Stranger Things, and I'm going to include a link in the description box of probably iPad Goat and this, and probably something else that you can check it out and you can look at it yourself. But this is a little ad about that was kind of 80s theme and everything, with the 8-bit looking screens and everything like it was in the 80s. You got 4th of July 1985, which is crazy because it's the same year of Back to the Future and all that stuff too, which relates. And I'm not getting into all that either. There's so much I can get into. It would take me, with what I have right now, it would take me like 7 videos and 2 hours long to get into everything. I'm not kidding. So I had to take the biggest stuff I could possibly find, or the biggest stuff out of that, and put it in here. So 4th of July. And then guess what? Then it shows this scene, Silver Cat Feeds. It's a code in the show. If you know the show, you know what I'm talking about. And it's a whole code. In fact, the whole code breaks down in gematria, and it's insane. But I'm not getting into that right now because I can't get into everything. And there's just so many numbers and stuff I can't get into. But I'm just going to show you this. Silver Cat Feeds in Jewish gematria is 1118. Again, it's 11/8. And again, in their gematria, and I've shown 1,000 times, 1 can equal a 1 or a slash. So that's 11/8. And then guess what? It also equals in English gematria 888. And I'm going to go back and forth from English, Jewish, basic gematria, which is simple gematria, or ordinal, or there's English ordinal, there's English reduction, and I've added some more gematria type ciphers that I've learned lately, that even break down this even more, and then that they have encoded in other ways. Okay, So in this ad for the season 3 of Stranger Things, this someone said the people count down 13, 12, and you hear this kid yell from the show 11, and then at that moment I stopped the video and no, so I'm gonna talk about this first. Now I got a lightning bolt pointing at each thing to talk about to remind me, because that's Barack Obama, the lightning falling from heaven, which was what Barack Obama means in Hebrew, because he's the Antichrist. And I'm gonna point. So I have this little lightning bolt in homage to the Antichrist, Barack Insane Obama. And I'm going to point to the apple. Well, the reason why they show this apple in there is because that's New York. And again, the apple's in iPad Goat falling. This is all connected. It's really crazy. Again, we have the July 4th going on here, as well as New Year's Eve. And that represents a time change. We're going from one age to another age. From the 4th age to the 5th age. I won't get into all that. But that's why time is involved here, and the way the apple is and everything. And so that is the apple falling. And that back then, that's what it was. And then it became a ball. And it's where it stopped on this right here. You see 11, 59, and 49 seconds. Well, 5, 9, and 4, 5, 9 plus 4 plus 9 actually breaks down to, so I'll just say it, 5 plus 9 is 14. And then you take that 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. So remember that 5, and then 4 plus 9 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4, so that's 5 and 4 is 9. That's 9/11 backwards. So they're showing the second 9/11 when the apple falls. Okay, then right here, I'm going to show you this. Actually, and that's the apple falling here, like I was showing you. So that's the same thing. Apple's falling, and it's on 623, which is this time I'm talking about, which is the second 9/11. Okay, now when the kid says 11, and that's when it stops, and so that's when you know to look at the numbers at that point. Okay, then right here, if you watch the whole video, I'm gonna have a link in the description box, and that thing is covering up what it says right here, but it's Save the Children. It was a nonprofit, and maybe it's still around, for children, called Save the Children. And this is not by chance, not by coincidence they show this as well. Because when the apple drops, when all this stuff happens, when the attack happens, when the mega tsunamis happen, I've said this 1,000 times as well, the children, the innocent, will be taken from the earth. This is a big transition time. The first thing that will happen will be children taken from the earth. If you're a Christian, you may have heard of this. If you're not, you probably haven't at all. But the children, I've shown this in previous videos, the children will be taken first. See how his arms are up, ready to go up? And it says save the children. That's not a coincidence that this is right here. The children will be taken before destruction happens, because God is amazing and just God, and I have 100 scriptures that prove that from the Old Testament and New Testament. And I haven't brought them to my videos because what happens when I bring a lot of things from the Word, because I've studied the Word for 27 years and I know it pretty well. When I start bringing things in the Word, then all I get is arguments back and forth on comments, and that's not what the Lord wants me to do. He wants me to bring this kind of information, and then people can't go, oh, I don't know about that. That's not biblical and all this. I mean, I still get some of that, but trust me, when you bring the Bible in a lot, and that's not what my mission is. My mission is to warn of these catastrophes that are coming and possibly give you a heads up of when. Okay, so... And then, like I said, it is saying 11. The kid is saying 11. Well, why? Because that's the character. There's a character, and her name is 11. Well, she looks pretty angry right here. And she goes for El for short, which is another word for God. El, Elohim, or El in general is the word for God. As that's not a coincidence, because she has powers, okay, like a god. There's so much imagery in here. There's so much... messaging in this show. It's phenomenal, and I'm not going to tackle all of it right now, but I'm going to tackle 11 right now for a second. So 11 in season 2 episode 7, 11 and she has a tattoo on her arm for being tested by the United States government, tested on and basically prodded and everything to make her a psychic and all this kind of stuff with MK Ultra. In fact, they say it in the show. They show it that MK Ultra, which is a real program that's still going on, that's mind controlling people to shoot all kinds of people in different parts of the country and in the world. And that's why it's on the rise. Amazing, because they have it down to a complete science, and they can get people to do almost whatever they want. And so, but they're revealing that in this show about MK Ultra. Well, she is one of their victims, and she is number 11 in these children example of how they're testing on children, and they do all this kind of stuff, and these psychic tests and stuff on children. So she's number 11, and then in this episode, season 2, episode 7, she's looking for one of her sisters that was tested on as well. And guess what? She shows her wrist as well, and she is number 8. She's number 8. So we have 811 again. Not a coincidence. Okay, 811. Okay, now I'm going to talk about twins again. Wow, twins. These twin sisters in different cities gave birth on the same day at the same time. Whether these people are actually real or this actually really happened, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. One's supposed to be in Denver, one's supposed to be in La Jolla, California. And I actually live in Colorado, so I don't know. But this is what's crazy about this. So if you look at the details, identical twins are 35 of those ladies there each gave birth to their first child early Thursday. And by the way, 3 plus 5 is 8. Not a coincidence. The babies were born at the same time, same exact time in each sister's respective time zones. Rogers gave birth first, welcoming a baby boy at 1:18 a.m. 118 in Denver, Colorado, and Maru's daughter, how do you say that? Maru's daughter was born at 1:18 a.m. in La Jolla, California. Man, are you kidding me? Again, we have twin births. Remember what I said about 118 and 118. They're twins or are both coasts. Here it's showing it again. I mean, what are the chances? Well, it's there. This is all planned. This is all either planned or fake. Okay, but this is all messaging. Okay, and then also I said in my last video, looks like, hey, possibly July 24th, 25th, because a lot of things were encoded to those dates. So they encode to all these dates, and then there's a master date that all these dates encode to. So it may be 8/11, I'm saying. Okay, or that's another huge one that's getting even closer. There's another one, but I don't see how that can be now. But it's possible. I don't know the future, like I said. And I said about the mega tsunamis that might happen. Well, what's the deal with the July 24th/25th? Well, around that time, I mentioned in my last video, Apollo 11 was going on. Now, look at Apollo 11. It could be easily shown as 11/8 because Apollo 11, and then it was 8 days, so 11/8, okay? But even more than that, Apollo 11, which went for 8 days in 1969, which is a lot of imagery stuff with that, which I've shared already. Apollo, okay, itself, in 2 different reductions, English ordinal, which is English gematria, and then full reduction. Let me explain the full reduction. So a normal reduction, or English ordinal, basically A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. And then, of course, then, J would equal 10, K would equal 11. So if J equals 10, then that's 1 plus 0 is 1, and if K equals 11 would be 1 plus 1 is 2. So that you reduce them fully. So, K is not 11, it ends up being 2 because it's 1 plus 1. So in both these 2 gematria systems or ciphers, they both are 8. And so Apollo is not only 11/8, it's also 8/11. In fact, Apollo 11 is saying 8/11. Okay, that's what it's saying. And then so you could say so what I'm saying as well is from the July 16th, okay, back to 5th of July is 11 days. Okay, so you have 11 back to 4th of July. And then we have from July 16th to the 24th is 8 days. So we have 11/8 again. It just keeps going. I hope you're following me. It just keeps going. These things are connected now. And by the way, that's 19 days difference. That's the first 19 that I mentioned for 2 19s from from July 4th to August 11th, which is 2 19s, which is 38 days. Are you getting this? Wow. And there we go. 8 plus 11 is 19 days, and then so we have 19 days from the July 5th to the 24th. And again, we're at a 2-day period is what I'm talking about. Okay, we also have August 10th slash August 11th, because I'm talking about 2 day periods because that's when the attack day is. That's when, like in Israel, there's 2 day period relating to our 1 day over here in the Gregorian is their 2 days, because they look at evening of 1 day and then the evening of the next day is their day. So Tisha B'Av is going on August 10th and 11th, just by coincidence. No, it's not. But Tisha B'Av is historical for judgments of God on the Jewish people. So the first one was they were banished to the desert with Moses. Okay, the second one was the first temple, and Tisha B'Av is really about the two temples. And again, 1 and 1, or twins, or 2, or 11. It's all over the place. Okay, so we're talking about in this situation 2 temples destroyed. Tisha B'Av. Okay, first temple destroyed, and then they went into captivity. The second temple destroyed, and they were dispersed all over the world. And then the Inquisition is linked to Tisha B'Av. World War I begins on Tisha B'Av. And then the final solution for the Jews with the Nazis was started Tisha B'Av. So these are big things. And so Tisha B'Av is a somber day for Jews to remember this. Okay? And it's not a coincidence that this attack day, I'm saying, is on August 11th. 10th and 11th, but 11th. And then look, Tisha B'Av equals, in Jewish gematria, of course, Jewish gematria, 9/11. And keep in mind, the people that run the whole world, they are Zionists, okay? They are the synagogue of Satan, which actually equals, I forgot to put this on here, but in English gematria, synagogue of Satan, the synagogue of Satan equals 223, which is August 11th. Okay, because it's the 223rd day of the year, and I'm going to show you that as well. But it's 9/11, Tisha B'Av, okay? Tisha B'Av, okay. There it is, 9/11, 2 towers, and again, 2, 1 and 1. That could be symbolized, the Twin Towers symbolize destruction of 2 temples. Okay, there's so much symbolism, all this stuff. I can't even cover most of it because it's just too much to say. It's an interwoven tapestry of sickness and evil that is all over our culture and our world and our history. It's just too much to explain. Okay, so I'm trying to pick the easiest parts and the most impactful parts. So from August 11th, 2019 is the day I'm talking about. Now you subtract 8 months and 11 days. What do you get? November 30th. Huh, what's that? Do you remember what day that was? I do, because I did a video on it that had almost 180,000 views, because I was talking about this nugget right here, the bush nugget, which it's a nicest possible name as I could call somebody, a nugget. And there's the old nugget right there, the evil nugget, Bush Sr., and that's when he supposedly died, 11:30. Well, how is he related to all this? Oh, let me count the ways. Look, he was in Skull and Bones. There he is right there, and look at the skull and bones underneath there. You see the skull on the table and on the cloth, and it's 322, Skull and Bones. Okay, and when I was looking into this at different times and looking at 322, it impressed upon me that this must be a date, and it must be a date of death that they were looking forward to, because they believe in the revealing of the Antichrist. They believe in bringing forth the Antichrist and bringing the world into one new world order, as Bush has said. And that kind of stuff. So I think I may know what that is. Okay, so August 11th is the 223rd day of the year, like I said, and that leaves 142 days left as well. But look, 223, and that's 322 backwards. Okay, which is crazy. So we do have, okay, from 8 months and 11 days, right, minus August 11th is November 30th, but also November 30th from August 11th is also, which is 8 months, 11 days, is 254 days. What is so big deal about that? What's up with 254? Well, that's significant as well, because 254 is the 254th day of the year, which is September 11th. Okay, so the Bushes are not connected to September 11th? Had nothing to do with it? Yeah, right. So it is the 254th day of the year, and if you know or not, or maybe you remember, he did a speech in front of Congress, both houses of Congress, basically, and where he's talked about out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order. And that was, guess what, September 11th, 1990, which would, guess what, was 11 years before it actually happened on September 11th, the attack. So that's not a coincidence either. So he's inexorably linked to September 11th, what I've shown you here. Look at this. I mean, look at these days, look at the months, and it's all pointing to September 11th. And then, like I said, if I'm seeing this all correctly, the second September 11th, which iPad Goat shows, is the second September 11th. That's why it's called iPad Goat 2, because on September 11th 1, you can look up the video when George Bush is in the classroom with these kids and the teachers saying let's say it, kids, my pet goat, and they start reading my pet goat. And that's why iPad Goat 2 is the second 9/11. Okay? And this guy is connected to it. He is an evil nugget par supreme. I mean, super evil. And then here's more. George Herbert Walker Bush in full reduction is 118. That's just a coincidence. No. I'm showing you so-called coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence after coincidence. No. And each thing I'm showing you, if you look at the numbers, if you knew probabilities, they're all off the charts. And so you add off the charts with off the charts times off the charts times off the charts, and you got to realize at some point, use your brain and realize this is impossible unless it's planned. And if I show you anything today, it's that this is all planned. Okay? Most of what you know is a sham. Physically, spiritually, everything is a sham. Most of what you know is a sham. What's happened around you in the world is what the enemy, the devil, wants you to believe, so you're fooled away from God and away from Jesus. That is the truth. If you want to know what the truth of truths is, that's what it is. And I'm trying to show you a little bit of peek into what's really going on, and hopefully warn you of the catastrophe coming. Not fear-mongering, nothing like that. All I want to do is show you, be prepared, because I'm not afraid. Jesus is with me. I know him. I have no fear whatsoever. I'm concerned about all of you, and I'm concerned about my brothers and sisters, that they go in the rapture that's coming, the first one. I'm concerned about people that don't believe in Jesus. So I'm concerned about everybody, and that's why the Lord has put this on my heart to share these things with you for almost 1 year. And it's almost over. Whatever day it is, it's almost over. And then, now let's transition into Donald Trump for a little bit. And on my next video, I'm going to get into him a lot more. So all you people that think Donald Trump, is the savior and he's all this great stuff, no, he's not. He's all part of it. In fact, he's probably just as evil as any of these people, maybe even more, because he comes across as good. But if you really look at his fruit, like Jesus said to do, it is bitter, it is nasty, it is gross. And if you look at all the predictive programming, all the numbers and everything like I have, Trump is part of it. He is leading all the Christians and conservatives, everything, to the Antichrist, Obama. Okay, so here's Donald Trump in his theater, the world stage. Trump calls Obama the founder of ISIS, in a sense a terrorist. And look at the bottom there. It's Thursday, August 11th. Imagine that, August 11th. There's so much more. It just goes and goes. But I will keep showing you. This is crazy. Remember when he said in October 5th of 2017, this represents, and all this military here, this represents the calm before the storm. And these reporters are like, what? That's weird. Well, what are you talking about? He says, you'll find out. I'm a weirdo. Are you kidding? What a cryptic thing to say and not tell people what you're trying to say. If that doesn't show you how evil he is, I don't know what will. Okay? And I'm going to show you what it means. This is what it means, okay? So he said the calm before the storm. So he was talking about the storm. I thought there was actually a message in calm before the storm. I did gematria on that. You can look that up. It's crazy. There's so much to this I already done. But this is really what he's pointing to. The storm is 118. Okay? August 11th, 11th of August, however you want to say it and put it, doesn't matter. That's what he is revealing, what I believe. So, also, what's 118 in simple gematria? 41. What's 41? Death, also in Jewish gematria. It's also the number for homicide, 118. Is that a coincidence? No. Well, who's linked to 41? Oh, 322 and Mr. Bush. Let me go back. President Bush was the 41st president. He was President 41. And then, so there's skull and bones again. There's death. Okay, so we got death. It's the death day. No, I'm not surprised. I'm not excited. It's the death day of 322 or 223, which is 8/11 or 11/8. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I think that's the death day. I think that's what they're looking forward to. That's what they're moving the whole world to. The revealing of the Antichrist and the day of death and going to chaos is what they believe. Okay, and by the way, when I said 11 plus 8 is 19, you know what the number for chaos is in Gematria? 19. 1-9. And guess what? We're in 2019, the year of chaos, and it's coming. I'm telling you, believe me or not, whether it's this exact time frame or not, or whether it's August or not, and I'm going to talk about a few dates or not, it's coming. It's coming very soon. Plus, we're in 2019, which ends with a 9, and guess what? The number for 9 in God's numerology is judgment. That's not a coincidence. And guess what? 2020, there's nothing in that. 4 and zeros, 2s and zeros. I mean, no, there's nothing. There's a lot in 2019. There's a lot. 2019 breaks down to 12, which breaks down to 3. They want to go from 9 to 3, or 9 to 3. The Luciferian global elites, they want to go from 9 to 3. All kinds of stuff I've talked about. Okay, now I'm going to jump headlong into something else and a different subject, because I'm hitting different subjects in this first one, and then I'm hitting bigger ones and more consistent subjects in the second one. And so here we have The Simpsons. And this is from my brother Bruco, B-R-U space K-O, a wonderful Christian guy, and he does videos. If you haven't checked it out, check him out. But I've talked to him recently a few times, and I asked him to send me some of his imagery, because I'm going to talk about it. And he talks about how he's, seen 811/812 in The Simpsons. And I'm not going to show you all the things, but just some of them that I think are the most impactful, because it's just too much. And some things, people just won't see, and they can't see or whatever. But hopefully you can see some of these things. But here is, you might hear my twins in the background making noise and stuff, so I might have to pause at some point, or, hopefully we can just keep going here. So this is Homer in his car, and he's about to go, and you see this radio say track star, and it says 8-track, hi-fi, right? And then what's crazy is look at the left there towards the bottom. You see the keys? Now, he found, Bruco, I believe, found something really important about the attack day on this radio right there. Okay, but before I talk about that real quick, look at those keys. There's a gold key and a silver key. That's not a coincidence, okay? And I'm going to talk about that. And that has to relate to this attack day, and the track star is attack start. And I'm going to talk about that, but I want to talk about this first. So, Stargates of God and Man by Ra Keper-Heru. There are only 2 gates, entryways into heaven. One being the intersection between Taurus and Gemini is known as the Silver Gate of Heaven, where Orion, Osiris, and Ashtar is located. The intersection between Scorpio and Sagittarius, where Ophiuchus is located, is known as the Golden Gate of Heaven. The galactic center lies visually from our solar system along a line that passes through the Golden Gate, and then I added bridge, because in my next video I'm going to talk a lot about the Golden Gate Bridge and its destruction having to do with the Golden Gate. Okay, so this, like I've said many times, this transition time we're going to, the next age, is a destruction time. It's going to be chaos, and it's going to be a transition point for good and evil. And the Golden Gate Bridge, for example, like I'm showing in my next video, is a symbol of that. Going into the Golden Age through the Golden Gate is what they believe. Now, as far as the good side, it is a gate or a key. It's funny how in the last season of Stranger Things, the machine that opened the portal to the evil upside down world was called a key. Okay, and Jesus says in Revelation, I hold the key of David and open a door that no man can shut, and all this kind of stuff. And he welcomes the Philadelphian church, and they are exempt from the wrath or the tribulation, but the other churches weren't, that he talks about in Revelation 2 and 3. So we're talking about gates. We're talking about also in the temple in Jerusalem. In Jerusalem, basically, they have the different gates, and the one that's said to be where the Messiah is going to arrive through is the Golden Gate. So there's so much symbolism here about the actual portals and things. I won't get into all that, but I'm going to show you this. And then look at this. You see where the flower opens up, and I'm saying this is the transition. This is the 69 as well in Cancer, and we're right now in Cancer, which is 69, which is the portal, which is the 23, 23, and 23, which is why they said Psalm 23 and Psalm 46, and then Trump recently talked about 69, and in regards to 9/11, the first Bush was 23, Psalm 23 he said, and then Obama said Psalm 46, where he said he was God and everything. Look at that little thing at 9/11 site, and it's crazy. He's like, he quotes Psalm 46, and he's like, I am God, and I'll be exalted among the thing, and he's basically talking about himself. But look right here. You see down here, okay? So this is how it relates to those keys and stuff. But look, it's a volcano also on Kilauea, and there it is. It's exploding right there. See that volcano right there? And I've showed how the volcano is also on the outside of the apple. But right here, where this time is transition, this is Hawaii. Like I said, Hawaii's on the apple, and this is also New York as well. But look at the volcano right there. It's almost like a three-dimensional looking image, and it's spewing like that. And right down here, again, this is multi-layered. This is the British crown coin. This is Prince Harry marrying. This is upside down. This is her, like the top of her dress here, and there's a heart that J.K. Buggout found. There's a heart right here upside down, and this is their marriage last year. But then they had a baby, and I'm going to talk about Archie in a little while. But right here, the gold key and the silver key. In this transition right here, this is the birthing of the Antichrist is what they're showing. The flowering of the Antichrist, the nuclear explosions that's what that is also, I've said many times. There's the silver key and the gold key. Silver portal, gold portal. Okay? I can't say I understand all that with the portals and everything. I'm not into astronomy as much, all that, but I have done some research, and I do understand that there are portals. I know the Bible and things like that. There are portals where angels have come down and went up, and people have gone up, like Enoch and Elijah and things like that. So we're going to be going up too, okay? And are you going to be part of the first one or the second one? It's up to you, or none of them. Hopefully you don't make that choice, okay? All right. So and there it is right there. I probably should have went to that so you can see it a little bit better, but there it is right there, okay? And it's kind of weird how on the tip of his shoe there, the silver tip, which his shoe also represents a submarine. It represents several things. It's Obama's foot, which is the foot of the Antichrist. And guess what? He's stepping on the British royal crown. So he is above it. He is a clone from them. He is a descendant of them. He's also a Nephilim. He is a clone. And I've shown it many times. He doesn't have a birth certificate. He doesn't have a social security number. That's somebody else's social security number. And guess what? Right here, it says 8. This is an 8. And there's an 11. It's 811 right there. There's so much in this. It's mind-blowing what's in this thing. And I'm not giving it a lot of credit because I hate it. But I'm saying if you want to know the enemy's devices and their tactics, to understand what's going to happen as far as destruction of many people, you might want to listen. You might want to look into some things. And what I'm doing is Ephesians 5:11. I'm exposing the evil. I'm not doing gematria, nothing like that, and I'm not doing any of this evil. I'm exposing it and showing you. You better be warned. You better listen. You better hear. You better listen to somebody. Now, right here, in that radio, Track Star, okay? And I'm going to say something, too, here. He kind of breaks down Track Star, and it really says attack start. But I'm going to say down here that 8-track is attack. 8-track, 8-tack, 8-track, 8-tack, 8-track, 8-tack, 8-track. It's 8-tack. 8 is also like A, so 8-tack or 8-track is attack, okay? And then hi-fi is numbers, but it's also, to me, it is Hawaii and Florida, East Coast, or West Coast, East Coast, or West, East, okay? And that's what I think this means also. But he breaks it down, and I'm not going to speak for him. I'll probably do a bad job of it. I mean, he doesn't speak English the very best, but I probably couldn't come across and share exactly the way he does. But he breaks down Trackstar and how it is attack starts, or attack starts, whatever, and then he breaks down the numbers in just simple gematria, basically, and basically it's 811 or 11:8. He thought at one point it could be January 18th, but he did kind of backed off that, and then it's more like 811. So he basically, I think he's saying actually 811/812, and one of his big points is that if you look at the star as well, it's the date, and then the reverse of that is rats. And so look at the star there. See the star there, and it says star, and it's actually on the actual thing here. It's right here. There's a star right there. See that? And so star is actually a star, and then upside down the evil is rats. And look how that star is a rat. A rat's face. You see that? His eyes, ears, mouth. It's a rat. It's really crazy. And so this is all their imagery, and I'm going to show you more about 811/812, but he's uncovered this, and this is his work as well. This is his work, and look, this is America represented by the eagle and going to be swatted, okay, by Homer. Is it really? Yeah, it is. Let me show you why. See, look at August over there. I'm talking about August. Well, what's more here? Okay, this is Bart trying to grab it and bag it, and he's trying to hit it, and then look where Homer is. He's got his little hair, his funky little triangular hair. Look, it's by the 11 and the 5 and the 12. Look at this. Oop. Oh no, this thing. Hold on a second here. Hold on, I gotta just fix this. Hold on. Okay, had some technical difficulties as normally happens with this silly program. So, as you see in the bottom right there, his hair is basically. I'm going to show it a little bit closer so you can see it actually. Right here, you see that, and that's like a slash. And on the left of the slash is 11. The right of the slash, it goes up to the 5. It includes the 12. So you could basically say it's 5, and then plus 12 is 17, and then 1 plus 7 is 8. So it's 11/8. That's what it's showing, and it's batting the eagle, which is America. There's just so much here. And then this is a situation in The Simpsons. I don't know the situation, but and then there's 11-188, and this is Bruco showing that it's basically 11/8 because 1 plus 8 plus 8 is 17. 1 plus 7 is 8. Now I'm going to jump to this. I'm going to go back to some Simpsons stuff here soon too, but I want to start with this to show you. Basically, the prophecy fulfilled after Red Cow is born at Temple of Israel on September 9th, which, by the way, a year before that was actually the birth of Jupiter in the Revelation 12 sign, which was in the sky, basically, because technically Jupiter crossed out of the body of Virgo. If you look at Virgo as a body, when you connect the dots, Jupiter passed through the body and went out between the legs, which is amazing. The fact that Jupiter was retrograde inside the body of Virgo, or the Virgin, which is really what it is, for 9 months and 23, like I've said before, this is crazy, 9 months and 23 prophetic days. 9 prophetic months and 23 prophetic days is how much 293 days is when Jupiter was inside Virgo, and then it came out of the legs, or out of the body, from in between the legs exactly on 9/9, and then 2 weeks later, or 14 days later, was a Revelation 12 sign on September 23rd. But it's kind of crazy that exactly 1 year from September 9th, when Jupiter came out of Virgo, exactly from the body, 1 year later is the Red Cow is born. I mean, it's not a coincidence. Okay, are you kidding? The Red Cow, which is supposed to be, hey, this saying the temple is coming and all this stuff. Well, I'm gonna show you more stuff. So this is crazy. This is what the New York Post said, and they're supposed to be super liberal, right? And they're basically saying it's the end of the world as we know it, like REM, and I feel fine. There's so much in that. Anyway, and all Red Heifer was born at the Temple of Israel on September 4th, fulfilling a biblical prophecy to reinstate purity to the world and the rebuilding of the Holy Temple, according to the temple's YouTube announcement. The sacrifice of the Red Heifer is essential to the construction of a third temple in Jerusalem, which would bring the coming of the Messiah and final judgment, which relates to the third temple that's going to be built and the 2 previous temples that were destroyed. ergo Tisha B'Av as well. So I'm going to show you some things that are crazy. So remember, as I show you here, that it's September 4th, right here. September 4th is when the red cow is, or the red heifer was born. Okay, September 4th, look, is the 247th day of the year, making 118 days left. Okay, that's what it's pointing to. I'm telling you, I got so much here, goes off the charts. And then way back in 2008 was a Simpsons episode, and going back to the Simpsons, because I had to do the red cow, or the red heifer thing, was Apocalypse Cow. And this is about a red heifer, and Bart tries to save the cow, raised for his 4-H club from the slaughterhouse, because it's going to be sacrificed, right? And this is all relating to this, but that was 10 years earlier. Okay, you know how all these events that the Simpsons have predicted or whatever from the future to the future and everything? I mean, no, because they know, because it's Illuminati information and it's Freemason information. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to show you this in a minute here. But so if you look at season 19, episode 17, 19 is broken down to 10. 1 plus 9 is 10, and you get rid of the 0, so it's 1. And then you have episode 17, so it's 117. Okay, well, why is that important? Well, we'll look at the next thing. And then you have, it came out on April 27th. Now 2008, and I'll get into that, why that's important. But April 27th is the 117th day of the year. Okay, so we have two 117s, and that, besides it, I mean, that's godly in so many ways. 711, 117 it already is, and that relates to the temple and stuff in a way too. But this is even more crazy. That is the 118th day of the year, actually, in 2008. Why? Because in 2008, it was a leap year. So 2000 was a leap year, 2004 was a leap year, 2008 was a leap year. So the 117th day of the year is not the 117th, or is not the April 27th. April 27th is the 118th day of the year on a leap year, because we add one more day to February. So there we go. That relates again, just like the cow did. Go back here. Just like the cow related to 118, this cow is 118. Believe it or not, it's crazy. Are you following me? Are you getting this? And it just goes and goes. I got a lot more. And then Matthew Abraham Groening is how you say his last name, Groening. Matthew Abraham Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, his name in symbol gematria is 223, which is the 223rd day of the year, which is August 11th. Imagine that. There it is. This is all coincidence. It's coincidence on top of coincidence on top of coincidence on top of impossible on top of impossible on top of impossible on top of impossible. But you still don't believe it? I mean, seriously, you got to see this. Okay, now I'm going to talk about something I've talked about in previous videos, which is the Invictus Games commercial, basically with Prince Harry and Queen Elizabeth and the Obamas and stuff. So I'm going to go over this again with a different perspective, and maybe we can find 118 again. I wonder. Okay, so in the beginning of this, and I'm going to link this in the description box if I can remember, and I'm going to put these 3 little videos in the description box when I can. So it might be the next day from today or something. I don't know. But he's looking at this little I am. By the way, that is so ungodly. It's crazy, because that's from God. That's God, and that's the enemy using it. And what Invictus means, and I did a whole 2 videos on that. Invictus is just, I am my own captain and all that stuff. And it's saying, I don't need God and all that kind of stuff. It's crazy. So he's looking at a picture, and I'll show you later what he's looking at. And he was talking to her about it. And then he gets a phone call. And look, it's April 27th, 117, right? Well, no, because like I said, remember 2008 on the Apocalypse Cow? Well, 4 years later is 2012, and then 4 years later is 2016. So that's another leap year, right? So it's really 118 again. And then look, again, here, if you haven't seen this before, look, there's the 69, which is the portal right here, 69%. And then you have 1 plus 8 is 9, and 1 plus 5 is 6, and that's backwards 69, and that's the portal. Again, 69 is Cancer. It is the portal. It It is the silver and gold gate I'm talking about. It is the transition point. It is the birth of the man-child into heaven and the birth of the Antichrist at the same time. And that is showing here. And it's coded to 118. And it was a message from the First Lady of the United States right here. And then there they are, the Antichrist and his first man by each other. And then there's a guy in the background, and he's going boom. And look at their faces, the other people on either side. You know, they look really, this looks really great. You know, it's like it's not good. He's like, we're going to bring it. Boom. Do the boom sign, right? And then he goes, oh yeah, please. Boom. Boom, right? And that's the boom sign. Okay, what were they looking at? Well, they were looking at these two guys. Well, this picture of these guys running because, you know, they're wounded warriors. And it all sounds all good because it's wounded warriors and all that stuff, and that's good. But then they got their evil I am Invictus Games messaging and this stuff and these numbers and stuff. Well, what are these numbers? Well, look, 223 he's wearing is 811. It's the 223rd day of the year, which is 811. Okay, and then look at 239. 239 is plutonium. Okay, 239. It's also 923 backwards in a sense too. And I've talked about the birth. And again, it relates all back to the Revelation 12 sign because, like I said, Jupiter was in Virgo from the conception when it entered Virgo on November 20th, 2016 to when it exited on 9/9/2017. It was 293 days, which is a version of 239. 293 days, which is 9 months and 23 prophetic days, which is from Revelation. And the prophetic years are used in Revelation. I think 8 different places in the book of Revelation. Okay, so we have 239, plutonium, or the birth, whatever, several ways to look at it. And so 239 is 923, which is 623. Like Jesus said to me, 923 is 623 in a really quick dream months ago. And 623 is 236, which is 118 plus 118. For both coasts, for both twins, for 2, for 11, for 1 and 1, for both temples, for whatever. It's all their coding. Are you getting this? Are you following this? So, boom. This is the day of boom. They're saying boom, right? Well, guess what? In iPad Goat, George Bush is being manipulated by the devil, and he's a marionette right there, and he's above him with his hands, and he's doing the boom sign, and there's the red boom that you see the reflection on him, and he's not happy, and he's doing the boom sign in his hands. Nuclear attack, like I've said many times, it's showing this. Okay? Now, again, with the royal family, so-called the royals, right? Whatever. Well, Archie Mountbatten Windsor was born on May 6th, right? So-called, who knows? I mean, we don't know the details of all this stuff, so for all we know, it's not a real person. I mean, we don't know. And the date's made up because it has to fit all this gematria and everything, because that's what they believe. They're Kabbalists, they're Zionists, they're Kabbalists, and they use the Kabbalah, which is basically union of numbers and letters, which is what they believe. And it's all their messaging, like I said. So what are they saying with the birth of this? See, they're saying several things. And like I've said, Archie is the archer, which is Apollo. I talked about earlier Apollo. Apollo is the archer, and Archie equals several things. But what I'm going to show you right now is he was born on May 6th, which is the 126th day of the year, leaving 239 days left. Oh, it just so happens to match, you know, what Prince Harry is looking at in the 239, which is also a birth, which is 923, which is backwards, and he was birthed. And then guess what? So guess what? Look, Archie in reverse ordinal, which is basically English gematria but backwards. So Z equals 1, you know, that way backwards from instead of A equal 1 is 118. Imagine that. And then look, Mountbatten Windsor is 239 in reverse ordinal and Jewish ordinal, 239. Okay, that's all a big coincidence. There's no way, right? It's just a coincidence. You know, nothing to see here. No, I'm sorry. What I'm showing you right there is absolutely impossible for all these things to relate to each other. Just the subject of Archie Mountbatten Windsor. And then check this out. So, let me break this down. So, he was born on May 6th, which was a birth. Okay, that was 126, the 126th day of the year. Which 126 is 21 times 6. which in a sense is 216, and that's that's Barack Obama's day of the year, which the 216th day of the year is August 4th, and Barack Obama's about to turn 58. And man, I'm gonna get into 58 in the next video. So that's 216. And by the way, 216, Barack Obama's day of the year that he was born, is 6 times 6 times 6. And then we have 239, like I showed, Mountbatten and Windsor equals 239, and he was born on May 6th with 239 days left, which is absolutely impossible for all that to match up. 239 is 923 backwards. So 23rd of September, which Barack Obama got with, the Antichrist got with a false prophet on 923:15, and the Revelation 12 sign was on 923:17. So we have a birth, 923, and then 923, like I said, is 623 because 9, you have to take the 9 upside down is 6. So in a sense, it's 6 because they can turn things backwards, upside down, like I've showed you. And then of course 623. I should have probably pointed to all these, but you can go along with me. And of course 623 is 236, which is 118 plus 118. And there we go. Archie is 118. So these all relate to each other. Hopefully you can see that. It's a sick tapestry of evil and all false flags and false things. So people follow this religion and they go their way. Okay, so hey, I've shared with you my twin babies were born recently, right? Well, I'm going to reiterate this if you don't know this, or I'm going to say it again to people who've heard. But my twins, when I first saw them on the 3-dimensional ultrasound, they were actually up and down, not sideways like this, but up and down. And the bigger one on the bottom was darker in texture and shading, and the other one was lighter. And they looked exactly, the first time I saw them ever was on this 3D ultrasound, and they looked like yin and yang. And then we have a relative come over and help us out with the babies. And then she makes these things, and she doesn't even realize that she's putting them on the right baby, and we take a picture of it. One has the dark theme, one has the light theme in a sense. And that was not even planned. I'm not saying my kids are light and dark, and like that, not at all. But it's just a representation. So way before we were even pregnant, way before we even knew we had twins, all before that, I started doing videos almost a year ago now, almost by a couple days, about two sides of the coin and twin births. And then, like I've said before, it was phenomenal when we're pregnant and then we find out we have 2 twin boys. And it's what I've been talking about, twin births. So of course, their date of birth is going to mean something from God because He did this. And it's a message to all of you. I'm telling you, it's a message to all of you. Whether it's the day or not, but it's encoded to the day when is the birth. I'm telling you. So let me show you this. This is why this could be the day. Because they were born on May 10th. Okay? Which is also shown as 510. Okay? And then check this out. If you convert Gregorian to a Hebrew date that's existing in Israel that they celebrate right now, August 11th is the 10th of Av, which is 510. So August 11th, in a sense, is 510, which is when they were born on 510. And God, I believe God did this to show this and to show you that what He does. And imagine my surprise when I've been talking about twin births, I've been talking about yin and yang, and Him showing me about the birth of the Antichrist and the birth of the man-child into heaven at the same time, and what this is all about. Really, what iPad Goat is really about. I mean, it's about many other subjects as well. It's you can see it many ways, and other things that all these Luciferian global elites are showing in movies, media of all kinds. But it's really about that, and they're looking for this day. They're looking for this day so they can have turn order out of chaos. Okay, it's 510, and that's when my twin boys were born. It's crazy. I hope you understand what that means. It's absolutely crazy. Okay, so what I'm saying right now to end this video, this part 1, and part 2 is probably going to be even bigger because I have so much to unload. It's just, you won't believe it. As far as 8/11 and 11/8, this is a master code. I'm telling you. August 11th/12th may be the attack time, or we may see an attack on the Dome of the Rock or some Muslim thing, and I'm going to talk more about that on my next video. Or that may be, everything may be encoded to August 11th as a Gregorian date, but it's really showing a Julian calendar date of August 22nd through 23rd. Okay, and I'm going to show you that in my next video. So I'm just throwing that out there right now so you understand. And if I don't make my video, the second video, then you know, possible heads up on these days. And again, these are just possible dates. I don't know the future. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. I never have said that ever in my life. Okay, and if I knew the date, if God told me the date, I wouldn't say it, because no one would listen, and they would think I'm an idiot, and as soon as it didn't happen, then they would say, oh, there you go, haha. But people say that already, and I've never said that it's the date. Any dates I've said, but guess what? Like I've shown several dates on just this video, they relate to this. It is crazy. Several dates I've shown relate to this date of August 11th. Whether it's the actual day or the actual day is encoded to this day, which all these other days are encoded to the actual day somehow. Oh, the little one, he's sneezing. How cute. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, you make your own decisions, and you've been, like I like to say, you've been served. Okay, so I wish the best for all of you, and I would just hope that you would come to the Lord. And I want to say one thing in Romans 10, verse 9 and 10. It says that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart God raised from the dead, you will be saved. And that's all you have to do. If you just confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, and you believe that Jesus can be the Lord of your life, and you ask him to be the Lord of your life, he's in you at that point. You are born again, and you will see a newness of life, and you'll be saved. So I'm asking you to consider that. And whether you believe it now or not, hopefully after this stuff happens, at least after all this stuff happens, when it might be too late for you to go in the first rapture, then you would open your heart up to the truth and see truly Jesus has shown you this stuff ahead of time, and you would open your heart up to him, and then you would come to heaven on the next rapture. So this is Exalted Lamb 1, over and out.